All right, we're going to circle back around and talk about the LLCs again just real quick. I want you guys to know it might be helpful for anybody who wants to set up an LLC to go ahead and start filling that documentation out. You guys can fill it out now or over the break or whenever, so that whenever we're actually really starting to move forward and purchase properties or do whatever we're going to do, that those things are already, that ball's already in motion. So if you guys can look through those two documents, the Articles of Organization piece and the document from us to allow us to set up the LLC, and begin filling that out if it's something you're interested in, that would be great. Now, I want you to know this too. We will set up the LLC at $650 charge. You can go online and find it for $350 or up to $2,000. The cheapest you'll find is $350. The most expensive will probably be $2,000. But I want you to know this. If someone's charging you $350 to set up an LLC, you don't get an EIN or an operating agreement, and you don't get access to anybody who will answer any questions. It's kind of like a buffet deal. It's like a teaser. Here, I'll set up an LLC for $350, but what do you get? Nothing. I got the articles, but I don't really have my whole nuts and bolts. Oh, you want the operating agreement? Well, you got to give me another $200. Oh, you want an EIN? Well, that's going to be another $200. And guess what? I don't have any customer service. I'll never speak to you again. That's kind of the way it works for real. If you look at some of the other competitors that offer all this stuff out there, we don't care about the LLC setup except for the fact that it's speedy. We do it fast and proper, and we have customer service for you. This isn't something we make money on or anything like that. It's just a service that we provide, because sometimes LLCs can take 3 weeks when other people set them up. We do them in 1 day. We do them the right way. We give you the proper paperwork, and we have customer service behind it. So, and this is just an option. You don't have to use us to set up your LLC. I mean, it doesn't matter to us. But, you know, we prefer that because we know it's done right. That's what's important to us. So. If anybody's interested in doing the LLC stuff, I say we get it set up soon. Then I guess what we should probably do is, people came here to look at properties, right? I mean, is that what we came here for? I mean, yes. It's like, hey, this whole week I've been standing around here. I sit in the back and I'm thinking, when are we going to get to look at some properties? You know, isn't that what we came here to do? Tomorrow we're going to take the bus around and look at some, but we've got some on the board. Let's look at them.
Let's look at them.
Let's go. Hit it.
You're still on, by the way.
Okay. Oh, I'm on.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna start from sort of the top. Tyler explained earlier, we've sort of got 3 models, give or take. We're gonna start with a few on the top, higher end of the model, go to the middle, and then to the lower end. Just so you know.
Cool. So this is a higher end house. Obviously, look at this house. What I was talking about earlier. All right. Why, if I could buy this, which is a 2000, I think, does it have on here, Ben? No. It's about an 05, 06 build. I can just tell by looking at it. Okay. When you build a new house in Phoenix, it's going to look just like this. So this is the highest part of our market, all right? This is the top end, this $112,000 one. To rebuild this one, this is a big 2-story. I think it's a 4-bed, 3-bath, actually. It's like 3,000 square feet.
It's big.
This is one of the top end ones we're going to show you. But guess what? It sold for $380. It's 30% of the price that it sold. This was like in May or something of 07, I think, if I recall.
06, 07 is really the peak.
So it was $380 to rebuild this. This isn't a $120, $130 rebuild job. This is like a $225, $250. All right. Well, until this price reaches $250, who would ever build one of these? Why would you? Whenever we take you on the tour and show you this house, you're going to be like, this looks brand new.
Yeah.
Right. So this is our top end model. Current price, 112. This is the percent discount off of the peak of the market, all right? This is the rent per month, and this is the gross yield. One thing to remember, on the higher end products, your gross yield is lower. The reason it's lower is because the tenant that lives in this house, okay, is somebody who's obviously doing okay for themselves, and when they leave your house, they're probably going to leave it in really good shape, and it's a less risky investment. Your possibility of upside, of appreciation and equity buildup is much greater. That's kind of more of the sales piece of this. You have something
the tenant living in this property may just buy this property from you in 5 to 10 years.
Very true.
That's the tenant market.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, so this is the highest end model we have, okay? We're just tiering down. This model here, this is another house in a similar type of neighborhood. This is, I think, an 04, 05 build. At the peak of the market, it sold around that 06, 07. I don't have the information in front of me, but somewhere around 06, 07 for 274. So it's 36% of the high value. This rent here, I don't understand this PM, Ben. What is PM?
Per month.
Oh, got it. All right, I'm not very smart. Okay, $791 per month, and this gross yield is 9.6%. Yeah, not very smart.
Just so you guys know, this was added in. We don't normally do the PM behind here. This is why it's not because he's an idiot. Okay,
No,
just so you know.
I'm an idiot.
I think you know that he's not an idiot by looking at him, right?
No,
And by hearing from him,
I'm mildly retarded.
he's like, "Hey, what is this PM?" It's like he's never done this before. Just so you know.
No, well, I don't do this.
This is something you guys are used to, right? The PM after it.
Yes,
So you normally do it per week, right? So PM means month, so that's why it's dictated that way. Right? We don't.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was this PM. This is every afternoon. They owe me $700. I just usually use /month. That's how I usually see it. Then that must be the right way. This PM must be wrong.
We'll change it next. We'll get you guys doing what we're doing here soon.
Okay. So this is kind of a step down. Still, though, obviously, nice house. I mean, I know we got a tree in the way, but we got, is it there? We're going to change this to an Australian flag or something after you buy it.
Yeah, it will.
So obviously, nice house, still good neighborhoods. You know, it's still a huge discount off of what it was before. And here's the thing, again, these type of houses in this neighborhood, I don't know that it's going to get back to 274 because the market was really hot back then. But I do know that this is the 130, 140 to rebuild. Plus, I know this neighborhood very well. This neighborhood's highly sought after because it's close to the city as well. Go ahead.
On to the next.
On to the next. We're just scaling down. A lot of the product that we have looks just like this. We're going to go look at them. Tomorrow when you go see these houses, you'll be impressed. Same thing. Price is starting to go down a little bit. The gross yield goes up. As the price goes down, the gross yield goes up, okay? But generally speaking, it's because you're getting to be in a little bit riskier neighborhood. Everything in this world, don't let anybody ever confuse you or trick you. If the gross yield is high, that means that your risk is higher. If you had no risk and could get a great gross yield, everybody would do it. It just doesn't work that way. That's why it's always a tap dance for me. This whole world is driven on, I won't go into this, I'm sorry. I talk too much. Ben says I talk too much. Okay, so gross yield 11%, rents $800 per month, 39% discount, $89,000. But look at this. When you go in this house, this is a really long house, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, $89,000. I mean, sold for $226. I mean, it's amazing. But
yeah, very good. I'll hit the next one here. Sorry, there's a question. Yes.
I have to see the square footage.
Yeah, the square would have to get more exact on it, but you're looking at that 120 to 150, 40 in this type of a property.
It just depends on the square foot, and I actually have some handouts that show you the price per square foot to rebuild. So all you have to do is take a look at the house and see how many square feet it is times the price to rebuild. Depending on what amenities you put in them and how nice the house, that cost to rebuild it just depends. It's all over the board. It could be from $50 to $125 a foot. Next one. Okay, we're scaling down, getting closer to what you went to. We just did two at once.
Whoa.
I don't want you to see this one. Oh, wait, okay, we'll let them see it. All right, here's the deal. This one here is a little bit deeper in the city. This one's a $58,000 range. As you see, we're going down in price. Our gross yield is going up, okay? This is a nice house still. These ones are built in like 60s, 70s, 80s. Again, it's a little riskier, so your yield goes up. Why is it riskier? Because the house is a little bit older. There could be more deferred maintenance type issues. But at the same token, it's still a great price on this house. Look, it sold for $195, 30% of what it sold in its height. This property's a little bit deeper in the city. You still get good rents. This one's $625 per month. My gross yield's up to 13%. So we're kind of stepping down. You're seeing, I mean, I wish we had that map. Remember when Chris was up here and he had his little pointer? The first ones we showed you were in those areas that he was talking about: Maricopa, Buckeye, El Mirage, Queens Creek. These are nice suburbs. And Annetta back here has informed me of something that I was not aware of before, which is that in Australia, if you get too far away from the city, these are areas people don't want to live in. In America, that's not exactly true. Now, if you get really far from the cities, it is. But everybody in America has a car. She's talking about, what about the transit system out here? I'm thinking, we don't really care about the transit system. People are used to driving long distances here. What had happened in America is this. We had cities. A lot of people moved into the cities, and in some areas of the cities, people started to move in that were less desirable. So what has happened is people have moved to what we call suburbs, which are 20, 30, 45 miles outside of the city, which is like the Maricopas, the Buckeyes. You're going to see these. These are not bad areas. What has happened is hardworking professionals have gone to these areas, set up communities, and built their own schools. Someone asked about schools over here. Generally speaking, your school system is better in the suburb Because what it is, it's hardworking people who care about having a community for their families. And when we go to these places, you'll see parks. You'll see people who care about family life. So I just wanted to kind of expand on that. I don't want you to get in the mindset that, oh, wait, this thing's 30 miles from the city. Who would want to live here? Guess what? Everybody who has a family who cares about their kids, that's who lives there.
That's got some money.
That obviously has had some, that's what I'm saying, people who work,
Right.
high-end blue-collar, low-end white-collar people, good people. That doesn't say that bad people live in the city here either. I'm not saying that. But the stigma that I never knew until Annette had told me was that something outside the city is bad. I'm thinking, why? Where I'm from, that's a good thing sometimes.
Yeah, just so you know, that we're a little bit opposite, I guess, that way. But there is parts of every city where there is people that would like to live there, and it's also a hot spot. So it's sort of a certain parts of the downtown. There's certain city centers. What are they called? CDVs? Is that what you? Is that CVD? CD? B. Businesses. Business. Okay.
B.
Got
it. Ben.
It's the accent. The way you say it throws me off. But anyway, there is corridors in every city that it's not not everybody just wants to live out of the city. Don't get that impression. But the majority of people, like you said, when they're growing up families, these types of things, the suburb life is it's desirable. It's sought after.
Right, but that doesn't mean that things in the city are all bad either.
No.
There's good areas of the city.
And then like these other the sort of our mid range. That's like almost the transition to the suburb. Like Glendale, it's closer to the CBD than Buckeye. But like Glendale used to be the suburb. Okay, but now it just kept growing. Now the suburb has expanded. So
you're right. Okay, here's the next one. Similar deal, although we can't see the whole house for some reason. I don't know why, but you can see it's got new paint, new roof, all this stuff. It's still in that mid-range type deal. 14.5 yield. The rent's a little higher than the other one. It's $800 per month. 30% of the high sold for $190 sometime 06, 07. Now it's 66 grand. I mean, it's hard to imagine. Phoenix is the 4th or 5th largest city in America and one of the most highly sought after cities for people who want to live here because of what they said about the weather. There's not hardly any place on the planet where you can come, you only have 2 bad months out of the year, and it's the summer. It's July and August. It's so hot. So everybody who's older in America likes to come here. This city's still growing. It's still a vibrant city. It's unbelievable, truly, that you can buy a property for 66 grand in a place that's hot like this. And it won't be for long. It won't. Here's examples of, we have a lot of townhomes or row homes or condos here. This is a condo, an example of a condo. Can't really show you the house, the inside, because someone's living in it. But this is like a 4 or 8-plex condominium. As you'll see, the prices even get lower. These are $34,000, okay? This one's just selling at 38% of the high, $575 a month. Gross yield's up to 20%. I just want you guys to know that the condominiums can be very good investments as well. Your upside potential of equity buildup or appreciation may not be as great as the others, but you have a little bit higher return on your money. So it's a switch off, okay? And these are a little bit deeper in the city. Sometimes the tenant you could get could be a little bit more risky. You just need to do your homework and make sure you put the right tenants in them. That's not to say they're bad. You just need to make sure you do a little extra homework on these type of deals. But the returns go up on these as well. Although there's homeowners associations in the condos that sometimes will affect this rent. So these are things to look out for too. What's the homeowners association dues? Because just like property managers we're talking about, a lot of the houses and the condos have homeowners associations. Condos generally have higher homeowners associations. All these things affect your return. That's each unit for $34,000. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath that's rented for $575 a month. No, it's one. There's about 10 units in this building. I just couldn't take there's people who live in it. So we just took a snapshot. That's the door that enters into this condo. This condo is like down here, this piece of it, you know? Condos in Phoenix were old apartment complexes that they took and rezoned and basically sold them to people. They're now condos. Does this make sense?
What would the body corp fees be like on
Say that term again.
Body corp fee is what the HOAs are called.
A body corp?
Yep.
So like, is this a dead person? The corpse of a body? I don't know if there's a
body
corpse.
corpse.
If there's a corpse,
No,
yeah. So if you have a dead, they're probably gonna go to prison. I don't know. But no, I don't know. Well, the problem with the condos, the body corp fees. Is that what you called? I didn't know this term. Whatever it is, body corp fees. They're generally a little higher than the houses because you have to take care of a lot more grounds, and it includes some of your utilities and things like that. And all the plumbing and all these systems that are in the wall, these are all common things, okay? So generally we call them homeowners association or HOA, is a little bit higher on the condo than the houses.
And that would all be included in your report?
Yeah, when you see our spreadsheet, it's going to have all the numbers very detailed for you. This is just kind of snapshots. Yeah. Later on, we're going to go visit the properties, then we're going to show you the spreadsheets and some more pictures.
The discount there of 38%, is that the discount you're giving us? So that 34,000 has already been discounted?
No, that is what percent the current price is off the high. Okay, you're saying it's now selling at 38% of the high. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't understand that?
Let me repeat the question so everybody can hear it. I think it's a common one. This DICSC, this is the discount percent. This is not. This is the difference between the estimated market
by 90, it's
and what the current price is. It's just a ratio.
I agree with that.
Dropped
I didn't build this
far.
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I didn't build this spreadsheet. I would think this should say 62%, but that's a percent of the discount from the previous high.
Sure.
It's basically selling at 38% of the previous high, which would mean the discount is actually 62%. That's the way I think of things too. But he built the spreadsheet, so I can't.
Yeah, you can't speak. This whole PM thing throws this guy.
I know,
I mean, come on,
know.
you kidding me?
Okay, one we're almost finished. Here's another example of a different style of condominium. Again, it's selling at 38%, which is a 62% discount of the high 90. That's $550 per month, 19% gross yield. It's just another example of a condo here, all right? $34,000 deal.
Cool. Let's hit Q&A.
Yeah.
That's what it's time for. Hello? Yeah. We're going to just open the floor here. I'm going to walk around with the mic, let you speak, unless you're just completely uncomfortable with that, and I'll force you to do it anyway.
You want to do that?
What?
You want to walk to him?
Yeah, I'm going to walk with the mic. Question, and one in the back here first, I believe.
Thanks. Just a quick question in regards to the articles of organisation. Like, say, if your partner's not here in America with you, in terms of signing original documents, how would that transpire? Would you accept like a scanned signature or?
I'll talk because I got the thing. You want to do it? Here, let me regurgitate the question just so everybody heard it. She basically said, what I heard you say was, if your partner is not here in America and you need to execute these documents, how do you get them to execute them? Okay? Here's the thing. Everything can be done by email. All the documents that need to be executed on your end are all internal documents, which means the operating agreement is actually the body, the meat of your LLC, and that's the true ownership piece of it. So basically, we would just email you the operating agreement. You could sign it at one point and even bring it to your partner later, because really, to register the LLC, you don't have to have this. This is for you and your partners. And it can be amended at any time that you want, because it's just your internal piece showing who owns the property. So we don't even execute those for you. What we do is we prepare them. I email them to you. You can sign it yourself, email it to your partner whenever you see them, because the state and the government, they don't care really about that. That's your internal ownership. So it can be done at any time. Does that make sense? The articles of organization, no. The articles of organization, the only thing that's on those in Missouri is the organizer and the registered agent. Both of those we don't usually put as you all because, like we talked before, privacy. The only thing that really matters for ownership is operating agreement. Articles of organization is just registering with the state and who set it up with the state. Usually attorneys do this and their names are on there. So these are two separate things. And
Okay.
to amend this, you have to file new documents with the state if you want a new registered agent or something.
Okay, great.
Does that make sense? Good.
Second to that, so can we purchase a property with the LLC set up even though we don't have an operating agreement?
Yes, you can. Because here's the thing. The title company, when you buy, they don't really care about your operating agreement, because all you really have to do is show them the articles of organization, because you're not having a capital gain. You don't have to really sign any notarized documents. Now, if you were to sell the property, you would need your operating agreement to show who can actually sign, who has the authority to sell that property. When you're buying something, no one really cares. If you come with the cash and you say you want this, and the seller says we'll sell it to you, as long as you have articles of organization from the state, they're fine. But when you sell, they need to see something saying, the operating agreement, saying that you have the authority to sell this, because now you are taking a piece of property with value and conveying that to someone else. Before you can do that, they want to see all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So,
They need to know who to pay and that you're actually the one
and
they
you're the
should
one that
be
can
paying.
do it. Because otherwise, anybody could sign over your property to anybody else. They want to see all the documentation. Does that make sense?
In terms of the service agreement that you provide for setting up the LLC, are you also the registered agent, and do you handle all the mail forwarding, etc., and all that, and the annual filings for the company? And if you happen to know, what's the indicative tax rate for an LLC here in the U.S.?
I didn't hear the second part. Will you please say that again?
Yeah. What's the tax rate for an LLC here in the U.S.?
Okay, great. All right. What I heard you say is the first part of your question was, I already forgot. The second part of your question was, the second part of your question was, what's the tax rate for the LLC? The first part of your question was what? One more time. I'm
Registered agent.
Oh, good.
We are the registered agent?
Yes.
Oh. The mail handling, will we forward the mail? Yes, we will.
Yeah, we will handle the mail for you. We do not do the annual filings or annual reports. We are not accountants. We do not act like accountants. We will refer you to people who will do that, but we will not do that. But we will forward the mail to you, anything that's registered. But in your operating agreement, the operating agreement has your name and your address. So anytime you go to buy a piece of property, on the deed, you put the name of the LLC and then your address and your country, okay? The articles with the registered agent address is only if, the city does this a lot. Your grass is too high, they look online, they see articles of organization, where's the registered agent? They send the mail to him because they don't know how to get a hold of you. Your name and address is more on the documents that matter, the ownership documents, the title documents, things like that. This is basically just a buffer between you and any agency trying to send you mail. But yes, we do forward the mail is the answer to that question. Does that make sense? Oh, tax rate.
Tax question,
Okay, sorry.
yes,
Here's
tax
the deal. The tax rates don't work like an LLC has a separate tax rate. First of all, let me say this. I'm not an accountant or a tax attorney, but I know a lot about taxes just because I pay a lot of taxes.
Disclosure. You forgot we're in America. We have lawyers everywhere.
Everywhere. There's probably one in this room waiting to sue me.
Yeah,
I've been
waiting. We're not giving necessarily tax or legal advice.
Right. But this is the truth. This is basically how this works. Your tax in America is based upon how much money you make, okay? So it's not necessarily you set up an LLC, this LLC's taxed at 30%, 35, 45. It's basically you buy a property in America, your income, let's say, is $10,000 for the year. I'm just making a number up. Okay, well then an accountant comes in and says, okay, this was $10,000 worth of income, but we have depreciation on the house. We have some things we can take off of this income, maybe getting it down to $2 or $3 grand. Well, then at the end of the year, it's bracketed. If you make 10 grand or less, your rate's this. If you make 10 to 50 grand, your rate is this. So the more money you make, or the more money that you actually have to show, that's the higher your tax rate. Generally caps out at 35 to 38%, can be as low as 20, 18 to 20 on the low end, depending on how much money you make. But accountants and tax attorneys are very good at making the number you really made look a lot smaller here. You have to pay them some money to do it, and it's all legal, but it just you have to take advantage of loopholes and strategies and things like that. We can refer you to those people, but we do not do that for you.
Nice thing about United States is they're very business friendly, one, very property investor owner friendly, two. Okay? Our laws are designed to own property and own businesses. You're about to do both.
No.
Next question? We have? Yes, right here.
Hey, are we good?
We had this lawyer here yesterday that said the management of limited liability must be ticked as managers, not members. The reason for that is that if you pass away, then the court can actually make a decision on it. You suggested we tick the member box.
I always do members. There's other reasons why I like members, but go ahead.
In your operating agreement, AKA the guts of your company, you dictate what you want to do. Okay, if you want to say in there, hey, I'm the member now. If I pass away, I want my son to now be the member or legal guardian or whoever it may be. You just say that in your operating agreement. Okay?
And let me tell you the answer. Let me answer your question again further. I truly have had about at least 1,000 LLCs. I've only always been the member, and somebody I know who's very smart has told me that I always need to be the member, and I don't know why. I can't tell you that. But I do know that in my LLCs, if I was to die or pass, that my daughter has my membership and everything. So I know that it can be passed without it. But I cannot tell you for sure why I'm always the member, but I've just always been told that, and everybody I know is the member. Like, again, I'm not an accountant or a tax attorney, but we can explore that deeper. I don't know the answer for sure, and when I don't, I'll find out, though, by the end of the day, I can guarantee you.
If the reason for your, I guess, rationale would be to say that if I passed, if what, then that reason, the answer to that question is, don't worry about it, you can still be the member.
Yeah.
Is that?
The operating articles for Missouri, don't have to be filed with the Articles of Organisation?
No, sir.
Did everybody hear that?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's wanting to know if the articles organization have to and the operating agreement have to be filed together. The answer is no. They're actually separate. The articles of organization is like a, hi, this is who I am. I'm registered with the state of Missouri. I'm in good standing. Here's my EIN, and if you want my money, you know, the IRS knows who I am too. So that's the EIN number. It basically just says, here's who I am. The operating agreement says, here's kind of what I do behind the scenes. Me and my partners, this is kind of how we run the show here. That's not a public document. It's a private document. Nobody ever has to see that unless you need to show it for reasons like we said, selling houses. Okay.
So we used to in Australia, an equivalent of operating articles have to be registered with the authority.
Not the case.
Missouri, no. So in other words, because the operating articles is really a private document, we could change it if we want to.
Anytime you want. It's your document to change.
Anytime.
It's your document to change.
With
your
privacy.
Your operating agreement is what we call a living document, which means it can be changed, amended, destroyed, whatever you want. It's living. It's alive. You can make whatever changes you need to it, and it's separate. It's a private document as well.
I'm not too sure I'm familiar with how you're talking about risk. The higher the rental yield, the more risky it is.
Okay.
Are we talking about it like being vacant for a while? Are you talking about the tenants trashing the joint, or?
I'm talking, here, I'm going to repeat his question again. His question was, why do you say when the rental yield, or I'm sorry, the return on investment or the gross yield is higher, why is it more risky? And I'm not saying just with real estate. Everything in this world is driven by fear and greed for things. And the more money that you make on a certain thing, the more money that you stand to make, generally means that thing is more risky. Like a CD or something in a bank that charges you 2 or 3% annual interest, there's no risk of you ever losing that money, really. That's why it's only 2 or 3%. When something's a 30, 40, 50% return, well, that thing's not very guaranteed most of the time. If it was, why wouldn't everybody do it? Why would you go to the bank and put 2% in a CD? Why wouldn't you just go do the 50% thing? That means the chance of loss is greater on that. I say with the nicer, newer homes, the tenants are a little bit higher grade. The house is newer, so the deferred maintenance and the maintenance on it is going to be less. Your vacancy is going to be a little lower, and you're going to have a little bit better tenant. Now, that's not to say the other ones are bad. I'm just saying everything is a risk and return. The higher your risk, the higher your return, the more risk you're taking. Some people like less risky things. Some people like more. Everything in this world is about managing risk. Either people are scared to take a risk or they're greedy and they want to take the risk. Everything's fear and greed driven. That's what I mean by that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. The risk would be that damage your property or stop paying rent?
Well, like I said, the other ones are a little older. They're 30, 40 years old. You may have refurbished the whole thing, but guess what? You didn't build a whole new house. There's always going to be little things. I could put new plumbing, new electrical. Got to go. Only one more question. I'm sorry, but here's this. The risk is higher because the house is a little older. It's in the city. The tenants aren't quite as high level as the other ones. I don't know about vacancy. It's going to probably feel the same. I'm just saying there's some other factors that influence that. Make sense?
Does everybody kind of get that? And then the backside to that, too, is with the lower return, you're going to get a little bit more equity and future appreciation as well. So there's that onto when it comes to the real estate. Okay, what he's saying about general risk and reward, obviously that holds true. But what we're talking about here, there's a little bit better chance for the rebound and a little bit more rebound per se.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I want to answer every question, but I can't.
Yeah, we can't. We're going to take. You had one earlier, and I know you want to ask another one. I'd like to get a question from someone that has not asked a question that wants to. If there's not, I'll go back to you guys. That's okay. We'll answer all your questions before you leave here. Trust me. But just okay. Get this one here.
I know you said not to dwell on the name, but I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. In terms of the LLC name, that is the name that will appear on public records?
Yes, ma'am.
So you probably, not that anyone from Phoenix would know me, but I probably don't want to have my own name, as you suggested here, your name, US Investments?
Yeah, I don't like that either. I was just using that as an example. Her question was, would I use my name because I'm going to be out there too much? I agree. I like to use things like my buddy's name, Ben Walls, LLC.
God, no wonder I'll be getting these letters, death threats, all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. This is all making sense. Hey guys, look, I appreciate you having. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Our portion of this, like Tyler said earlier, we're gonna be here the rest of the time. We're very amicable, sociable. We're out. We don't mind answering any questions you might have. See us afterwards, guys. Thanks. I want to thank the property managers also for being here. They're going to hang out a little bit longer. If you've got some questions for them, they've been here. Thank you very much, guys. Can we give them a hand?
Hold on. Wait, I got one last thing. I'm sorry. I just want to say one thing. I know you got to go. I'm just going to wrap this up with one thing. This is important to me. All right. I love real estate. I've been in real estate my whole life. I love it. The things I said at the beginning. When I started in real estate, I had $0, and then as a 27-year-old man, I had $20, $30 million saved up. This is a true story. I lost most of it in the downcline, but I will make it again, and we're getting back up. This is one of the only things in the world that you can go from zero to hero. Truly can do that. And real estate is the best thing on the planet for me because I don't want to buy a stock or a bond or a piece of paper or something that can fluctuate on somebody else's deal. With this real estate, it's a real asset. It's a real thing. No matter what happens, that piece of property is going to be there if you have insurance on it. So I'm just saying, you guys are in the right place at the right time. Real estate is the best investment for me. I love it to bring people in from a position of a little wealth to a lot of wealth over time. And I'm very serious about that. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. That's it.
Thanks.